Hey, what's going on, folks? This is Balaji O with a braver new world, trying to create a braver new world for our kids. Today, I want to share a story with you. And I like to call this one, My Father Was a Storyteller. He still is a storyteller. But what do I mean when I say my father was a storyteller? Well, certainly in the literal sense, he's great. He's phenomenal at telling stories. The kids love to sit by his feet and just listen to him go to town. But in a more figurative sense, he was a storyteller. My dad grew up in a really small town in Nigeria, and he actually worked on the farm. So he had several siblings. They all worked on the farm every day from a very young age. My dad hated working on the farm. He wasn't feeling all that manual labor. And so what did he do? He really did well at school. Elementary school or primary school was free at the time, so he did really well at school, so well that he actually was able to get a scholarship to go to secondary school, or more or less high school. And that took him away. That was his excuse, his escape from the farm life, right? But how did that happen? That wouldn't have happened if he hadn't told himself a story that differed from the situation that he was in. He didn't see himself as a farmer, okay? That just wasn't the story that he was placing himself in. And so he continued to do well at school. He got scholarships to go to university. While he was in university, he came from a very financially poor family, and yet he was able to write plays. He wrote plays that he sold to radio stations. They would read these plays on the radio stations. He'd get paid, and he'd have a little pocket change that he'd be able to use to actually, that's how he got to take my mom out on their first date. He told himself a different story. It didn't matter that he came from a poor family. My dad told himself a different story. He placed himself in a different story. How does all of this relate to creating a braver new world for our kids? Well, with Braver New World, what I'm looking to do is give our kids that ability to write themselves a different story. So what if you weren't born with the skills of a LeBron James or a Steph Curry? So what if you don't get straight A's in class, or you're not the best soccer player on the team? So what if you're not the most popular kid in school, or you're not good at music or art or whatever else it is that makes you feel less than confident? You have a unique contribution to make to the world. You have a unique superpower that nobody else has. Nobody else can bring what you bring to the table. You just got to write that different story for yourself. You just got to put yourself in a different story and make yourself the hero of your story. So my father was a storyteller. He still is a storyteller. What kind of story are you telling to yourself and your kids? This is Balaji O with a braver new world. Make it a brave one. Peace.